All right. Hello, everyone. This is Amir Estimo. And today, I'd like to say thank you for anyone taking the time to listen to this podcast. As you could be doing anything in this with your time in this world, any given moment. But the fact that you're listening to this podcast, really do appreciate and tell you thank you. Also, um, I would like to introduce a good buddy of mine on today's podcast. MW, aka Matt Wilson. I can honestly say Matt is I wouldn't consider him my friend. He's my brother. I met Matt my sophomore year in college, where we both attended University of South Florida. Go Bulls! He's a native of Tampa, Florida, but he resides in Brandon. He's been there, grew up his whole life. I would say Tampa is probably my. If I was to ever move back to Florida, I'd probably move back to Tampa. Love the city. I think it was one of the most chill places, relaxed. So loved it. Matt is also a business owner. He owns a couple of companies, Living Well, senior citizen home, and he owns a Southern Sugar Company, which he's a co-founder with his wife. So everyone, I'd like to bring you on the podcast, a good buddy of mine. Also, I forgot to say he's a graduate of University of South Florida. So with a degree in business management. So I'm gonna ask him on the podcast, do he feel that having a business degree and being a business owner, did it really benefit him? So that's something I'll ask him on the podcast too. So everyone, welcome to the podcast, Matt Wilson.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
So appreciate it, brother. So thank you, Matt, for coming on to the podcast, man. So
Of course, man.
all right, so let's get started, man. So just as we talked about, as I said, you currently are a small business owner. And the first question out of curiosity, I know you went to South Florida, you got a degree in business management. You being a business owner, how do you think that really translated into you now owning your own business? Or do you feel you could have not go to college necessarily for a business management degree, but you could own your own business without actually having a degree?
Wow. Yeah, so that's definitely a good question. I feel that my time at USF in the College of Business, it did actually help me as far as on the business aspect, and I guess getting to understand the business concepts, the terminology, just kind of the overall business picture. Like, for example, I wasn't somebody going in completely new. I was new when I started my first job, but I could understand the acronyms and things of that nature, because there's a ton of acronyms in the business world. And so I think it did help me to at least lay the foundation of what business is, what it means, and just an overall kind of high level view of what business is about. So yeah, so I would say for me, it could only help. It definitely was not a waste of time.
So right now, if you have a kid that's wanting to go to college, and right now you have a lot of people saying college is not needed, it's too expensive. What would you say to that? What would be the best advice you would give to someone an 18-year-old who just graduated high school, trying to figure out what to do next?
Right. I would say it depends upon your skill set. So for example, if you're someone that a kid coming out of college and you already know how to code or develop programs and software and things of that nature, then a traditional 4-year university is probably, you don't necessarily need it, because you can go to one of the technical schools and receive their certifications in a much shorter amount of time and probably for less money. Yeah. And come out of that school probably making quite a bit, to set yourself up for a long-lasting career. And on the flip side, if you're someone that's coming out of high school and let's say you want to be in the medical field, you want to be a doctor. Yeah. Obviously, you have to go to a university in order to obtain that. So I really think it depends on the skill set of the individual and what they want to do once they graduate high school.
Okay.
It's not like a one size fits all solution, because I will say that, college may not, be for everybody.
Yeah.
It just depends on, what you want to do in life, essentially.
Yeah, and the fact that you have options,
Right.
that's the thing is, and like how you talked about the skill set, because that's what's going to determine what path you choose.
Right.
I'm definitely in agreement that someone that needs to go to the medical field, I don't want you coming operating on me, and you don't have some type of formal education.
Yeah, exactly. Just because you slept at a Holiday Inn the night before, you got a good night's rest. Now you want to perform, brain surgery. Nah, it doesn't work.
No. I would definitely advise you to go to college. Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, so now that you're a business owner, is that something that was always in you? Like, what got you into starting? Because I know you started the Living Well company. That's a family-owned business. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So what got me started in business, as I kind of look back on it, and I've kind of like asked myself that too, it's it may have been a combination of things. So it may have been something that was kind of in my DNA. So like my grandfather, he lives in the Pontiac, Detroit, Michigan area. And so for a large part of his life, he worked in the factories at General Motors. Well, when he retired from there, he decided to, I'm going to open up my own business and, open up a funeral home. And so, I know, interesting, right? So very interested. And so, coupled along with that, and also I remember in high school, somebody had given me, I think like a crap load of like miniature Skittles packs, like the little, like the small, like little small packs.
Yeah.
That you get, And I was like, being in high school, kids like candy.
Yep.
And so I was like, man, I could sell this. And so I kid you not, man, the money that I made off of like selling those little Skittles pouches, I bought like school clothes and stuff, like for the next year. And so it was like, I look back on it, I was like, man, this business was just kind of in my, DNA to see something and say, okay, let me try and multiply. And another important factor in that is that, I mean, I'm a man of faith.
Yeah.
And so I remember I went to this service, and there was a preacher that I had never met before in my life. Okay. And he spoke into my life and said, and he pointed me from the crowd too. Didn't know this man from Adam. And he called me up to the front, for prayer. And he said, the Lord said business. The Lord is leading you into business. And I think at that time, I was like in my maybe like senior year in high school. And I was, I knew I was going to college. I don't know if I was accepted at USF at that point or not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I wasn't exactly sure of what I wanted to do. And so when he spoke that word into me, it, provided, some guidance and some direction. Like, okay, all right, I'll go this business route. And of course, it was definitely, met with opposition as far as, just the enemy trying to keep you from your destiny and from your goals.
Right.
Like when I started and, found out that some of the classes were, some of these classes are kind of hard. Life science calculus, that was the toughest class I ever been through in my life.
Oh,
I don't ever want to go through that again. But when I ran up into that life science calculus, it was like, bro, I started to doubt. I'm like, oh my God, because
wow. Okay.
I felt it the first time. I kid you not. I felt it the first time. I think I got a D in that class. So I'm like, man. And so of course, I needed a calculus class in business. Like that was like one of our prerequisites or whatever. And so I failed it the first time. All right. Took it again. I failed the darn class again a second time.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh my God. And so I don't know if you remember, it's kind of like that 3-strike rule. Like, take a class, I think 3 times, back then.
Yeah.
Before it was like, all right, you failed that time, you're done. And so, but long story short, I passed it my third time taking it. I got an A-, thank God. It's like the light bulb just went off in my head.
Yeah.
And it was like, I could hear angels singing and everything. So it was like, it was all good. But in the middle of that process, I think it was maybe my second or third year, I had kind of changed my major. I went from business to, I was like, oh, let me do this communications. I like that.
Yes.
No knock to anybody in communications. Yeah. I kid you not. I got respect for you.
Yeah.
But it's a much easier, pathway than going through business. And I had, went through, I had took some communications courses, I think for a semester. And then, not sure, what happened from then, but I jumped back into, business. I'll probably, talk to my parents or something like that and, just kind of, reconfirm some things that, no, this is the route that you need to take. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting, road for me to get there. And so, but, out of that struggle, came success. And all that led to us, owning our first business together as a family, a Living Well community that you mentioned, which is an assisted living facility. And, interesting story how that came about is the facility where it is actually right next door to my parents' house. And it is it's a house building, is what it is. It's a house.
Yeah.
And so that house became available. It came up on the market. And my mom was like, I think this would be a good opportunity for you, to purchase that home. And I think I was 25 at the time. So I had the opportunity to become a homeowner, at the age of 25, which was, an achievement in and of itself. And so, long story short, I ended up purchasing the home. And, we did everything that we needed to do to get to have the property zoned for an assisted living facility. And, here we are 10 years later, and we still have it. And it's a pretty successful business.
Oh man, great man. This is the reason why you bring people on the podcast, because there's 2 things I learned. I don't know if we ever discussed that, the sermon of the preacher and how he pointed out you were business, Yeah. So that's good. That's good, man. And then the one with your grandfather. So that's really good to know. So appreciate it. Yeah. It's now starting this business, right, with your family. Was there any fear? What was the fear factor that you guys had to have to deal with?
Right. The fear factor, I guess I would say primarily is trying not to run out of money. Because from the time that I purchased the property until the time that we received, I think our license, our assisted living facility license, was a year. So there was a year's worth of time where, we were splitting the cost of the mortgage. Of course, we still had to have electricity and plumbing, turned on. Those charges were low, but nonetheless, because there was nobody staying there. But nonetheless, we had to do that. Not only, there was also operating expenses, even though we weren't in business yet, but we had to, in order to have the place properly zoned, we had to get new windows, because the windows had to meet the spec for the state of Florida. We had to get new doors. The place had some old behind ugly carpet. So we pulled that up and put down tile and of course, painting in the inside. So we're doing all of these kind of projects and kind of renovations in order to get it ready for, once we get our license in, then we'd be able to secure a resident. And so yeah, from that time of purchasing the home, getting the license, and then getting a resident in the building to actually start receiving some income, like I said, that was over a year's worth of time in which we were just constantly putting in money, coming from our savings account. So I would say that was the biggest fear, was the potential of just running out of money, without having any income coming in.
Now, you being at the time 25, is that correct?
Yeah, I think I was 25. Yeah, I think I was 25 when or 26 when I closed on the home.
So, a 25-year-old, you're still trying to figure out, because you're probably not transitioning from leaving college, hopefully, into the real world, right?
I know, right?
Unless you're taking life science calculus or
oh yeah, you take
it over here.
Exactly.
So why at that time, that transition, like most 25-year-olds are probably out just enjoying life, living life. What gave that you starting the business? What would you say that was set you apart from not, in starting a business instead of, just doing whatever at that time, or still trying to, because it seemed like you already had that mindset, right? And the fact that you already had that mindset. So what kept you, like, was it your family, your family support, so on?
Right. Yeah, it was definitely a combination of things. For one, I would say it was focus, in seeing that, purchasing that building and opening a facility was a means for us to have a business of our own, to create some wealth of our own. So it was a focus from that standpoint. It was also having the help of family, because there was no way actually any of us could have done that on our own. But it took a collective effort from all of us with our money, our time, and our different areas of expertise in order to get that up and running. And it took a whole lot of faith to actually see it through, because of course, like during that time, there's different roadblocks, or when we were applying for our license with the state, certain things that you had to do or you had to redo, and so it was just a lot. But we just throughout the process stayed focused, stayed together, and we kept the faith in God that Lord, this was you leading us to do this, and that we know that you're going to see it through. So it was probably a combination of all those three things.
Yeah, because I've always known you to have your head on the swivel. So I think that's basically what I was trying to say, was keeping that head in your swivel, man. Because it was a hard transition. At that age, you're still trying to figure out. Most will say you have the answers and you actually don't. Especially when you spent your last 5 years, 6 years in school and college. You're constantly being told as far as reading, studying, and now you got to transition from that to actually putting that into practice. So you have to have the head on the swivel, man. So now you have the assisted living facility. Now you have a company with your wife. So I see some of the stuff you guys post on Facebook, man. Let's just say it's mouth-watering.
It is. Yeah, just as, I guess, as good as it looks on the pictures, it's legit. It's really good. And I gotta give my wife credit for basically all or most of it, because she's the true talent behind it all. Like, she's the one that developed the recipes. She's the one like taking the pictures, and like this is off of her talent. I basically was there. am here to consult and to do like the little small little jobs, like kind of to be her assistant or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, she'll bounce, different ideas off me. I'll tell her what I think. Or if she's like trying out something new, I'll be the taste tester and give her like, honest feedback, because, not everything is perfect, the first time you make it. So yeah, there's, adjustments. So I'm always there to be like, hey honey, I think we need to do this or add this to it. And she's really receptive to that. But I'm extremely proud of what she is and what she has done. It's pretty remarkable what she's doing. So I'm very proud of her.
They should really check out your Facebook, and it's the Sutherland Sugar Company, right?
No. The Southern Sugar Company.
Okay, all right. Thanks for the correction. The Southern Sugar Company.
Yeah, and we have a website too. It's www.thesouthernsugarcompany.com. So you can find us there, especially if you're in the Bay Area or the Tampa area or surrounding areas. Please check us out. I promise you won't be disappointed.
Oh man, awesome. So now how are you finding the time? Because now that's two businesses, right? So you find the time to be part of two businesses and be a full-time dad and be a full-time worker. So how are you doing that, bro?
I don't know. Nah, it's again, it's a collective effort, and just a small background on the Southern Sugar Company is that my wife always had like a passion for like baking and sweet things, and she how like Facebook sends those reminders like when you like write a post or something like that. Like it'll show it like so many years or something like that later. And so I guess about, I don't know if it was like maybe a year or so ago, but Facebook sent a reminder of a post that she had written years ago where she was like, I just love baking. I want to, turn this into like a full-time job or into my business. And that, is so, so important and so vital because, not only is that faith, but people have to understand that even the scripture says that the power of life and death lies within your tongue, that you can speak things into existence that are not there. So you have the authority to speak things. And so my message there is to speak positive, things in your life. Don't expect the bad, but expect positive things and speak positive things, and it will result from that. So it was just, like one of those kind of like beautiful experiences, like, man, like God, you're just so amazing. To where, we started out, I guess it was about maybe 2 years ago where we made it official. And, we went through the process of acquiring our license and stuff like that. And I guess the first stage was she was focused on making like dessert jars. These really cute, like desserts in mason jars, and a lot of it, like, for example, like peach cobbler or banana pudding and things like that. She was like putting those in mason jars, and something that was really cute. And we received like a few, well, I guess a handful of orders and like engagements for weddings and stuff like that. But it really didn't take off like that big. And so, during that time, during that process, business was fairly slow. And then we also, my wife got pregnant with our second boy. And so that definitely put, things on the shelf because, I mean, you're pregnant, she's pregnant, with, already have a child here and she's working full time. So that would be incredibly difficult to also, run a business. So here recently, she got an idea. She was like, I think I want to start, making cheesecakes or whatever. So she did her research and found or developed some recipes that she liked. And man, like the business just took off literally overnight. Like from the first, picture of the first cheesecake she posted. I think we made more money like within those first 30 days a few months ago than what we had made like the previous year. And that was just expanding the product line and offering cheesecakes and cupcakes. And so, she's, like I said, she's just done a phenomenal job with that. And yeah, we're just, how we're juggling the time, and stuff is, I don't know, she finds like time, in her spare time, to make sure like the orders are going out and baking, what she needs to. And yeah, it's just a team effort, when I need to help out with that, or maybe I need to run and grab the kids or, or whatever. So it's just a collective effort on our parts.
Great, man. Yeah, like I said earlier, I've seen some of those posts, and I think there was one I seen, she had like a cheesecake on red velvet, and I love red velvet as it is. I love red chocolate. That's all I really do. Red chocolate. And just the cream I saw. Oh man, that looks good. So
oh yeah.
we got to at least find a way to bring some of that here to Texas, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that will be the next phase in our growth is, I guess, developing that kind of, supply chain to be able to ship like out of state and things like that. I think we know how to do it, but it's just going to take time and just more resources to be able to do that. But that would be the next kind of like natural phase.
Awesome, man. I can't wait. So
it's
gonna involve me have to really hit the gym. If you one of your top customers here in Texas.
I know, man. Yeah, like it's really taken off, and we've gotten like phenomenal feedback. Like one of my buddies, him and his wife ordered the red velvet cheesecake, and he was like, that cake spoke to my heart. He was like, oh my God. He was like, I was finding reasons to go into the kitchen 1 o'clock in the morning and stuff and slicing us in my kitchen. I was like, oh man. So yeah, and like I said, they're good, man. It's as good as it looks on the picture. It's good stuff.
But it really speaks to your perseverance, bro. Like I mentioned earlier, it speaks to the head on the swivel and the fact that, it's sad to say, but not a lot of family businesses with that much people in it really survive because you always got one person that thinks outside of the collective family or whatever, and then it just blows up. To see 10 years is awful long time. That's a whole decade for you guys to still be driving. So I really commend you guys for that, brother.
Yeah.
And to see the growth of you and your wife and your new adventure, really appreciate it because it's inspiring. When doing this podcast, it's good talking to the everyday small business owner because you get a true testament, I think, a true idea versus someone that's more ubiquitous. Everybody say, okay, yeah, that's TD Jakes or whatever, great. But, talking, we can relate to a Matt Wilson.
Right.
Someone, a guy who's he's a full-time father. Now he has 2 businesses, family owned, and now him and his wife, and to see the success. So I have just much, all I have is much respect for you guys and keep wishing you guys that you guys will get there. Like I said, once you guys open it up, I just cannot wait to see the explosion you guys will have in your company. So appreciate it, brothers, for coming on the podcast and just sharing some of your story. I learned a few things today, so that's good. It goes to show you that you don't always know somebody. You don't always know somebody completely. You're always going to learn something new, right? So, the fact that, just seeing the inspiration you drew from your grandfather and then all suddenly having that sermon being preached to you and you being a man of faith, so that's you being a man of faith. So keep carrying on, brother, and I appreciate it. And much love.
I appreciate it, man. And if I could just say one more thing too, is that, everybody has something that they have a talent, some type of talent with. I believe that God has gifted us with something. And I don't know who I'm speaking to or who may hear this message, but whatever your talent is, put it to use. Find a way to let it work for you. You cannot obtain true wealth by working for somebody else.
Yes, sir.
You have to own your own stuff. And God has equipped you with that ability. So go forth, cast out all doubt, all negativity, and push forward with your talent because God has gifted you for a purpose.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it,
man.
Appreciate it, man. So one thing I'd like to ask you before we leave is my goal is to always find someone that recommends books. I think reading is good mentally. So what would you say is your favorite book? A book that you recommend?
So I'm definitely not a big book reader, and I kid you, I'm not trying to be spiritually deep, but the book that is the Bible. That's my book. And that obviously that's no knock on literature. I think reading, as the saying goes, reading is fundamental. You can learn a lot from books, but yeah, just for me myself, it's scripture. And one of the I have a commentary by Tony Evans, in which I love. I think Tony Evans is based in Dallas. Yeah, he's based in Dallas.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance, obviously I don't think like his church is open right now, but just catch him on YouTube, because I know they stream his sermons, and he's just a phenomenal, just gifted speaker, and he breaks it down, and he makes it relevant. And so I have his commentary Bible, and it's you can read it along with the scriptures, and get a great understanding of the word. So yeah, if I had to recommend something, pick up anything Tony Evans. And he's a prolific author too. He has other books out there as well.
Awesome. And when it comes to the Bible, it's however you get that mental stimulation. And I'm pretty sure a lot of literature is actually derived from reading the Bible. So
right.
So it's where you get that mental stimulation, especially I think for me one of my favorite chapters is Proverbs, because that's a book full of wisdom. And
wisdom book. Yep.
That's the wisdom one right there, brother. So,
yep.
Well, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, all right, until next time.
All right, brother.
All right.
Hey, next time we gotta talk about sports. Let's have a podcast about sports.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah. We're gonna have an episode like that one day.
Oh man, hey, sign me up. I'd be so ready for that.
All right, appreciate it, bro.
All right, man. Take care. Much love to you.
You too.
Thanks.